Henkel?
Here, Judge.
All right. And Mr. Headley? Here, Judge. Okay. Mr. McDonald? Here. Mr. Martin? Here. Mr. Pittman? Here. Okay, and Mr. Noak at this side. All right, so we're all present. Very good. Minutes of the last meeting, I understand we didn't have sufficient time between the last meeting and tonight to generate the minutes. Is that
I'll check with my office.
all right, well, in any event, we don't have them to distribute this evening, so I could just defer that to the next go-around. So moving beyond that, correspondence from a city official, from the top office on down. Any such correspondence, Mr. Rubino, that you're familiar with? No. Okay.
It's safe to say, we receive no mail.
Okay, well, that's in a way.
I assure the board members, they were
Very
very
happy.
There was mail, something.
Judge, there were 41 disclosure forms returned to date.
Okay. With respect to those disclosure forms, did you open the envelopes yet?
No, Judge, I was waiting for direction for this board.
Okay. Well, I guess technically we should address it during new business, but we're on it. Why not just be efficient and dispose of it? Helen's questions, I understand it with the tone of her voice, is what do I do with these? She had the responsibility when we first started to open up the first batch that we sent out, the ones that we subsequently updated and altered and amended and so on. Did you have any reluctance to continue that role of opening up?
No, Judge, as long as the subcommittee would then review them after me so that more than myself, as a member of the board, the last time it was Mr. Pittman and Mr. McDonald who also reviewed the forms. And I would think I would appreciate that occurring again, after the due date of May 16th, allowing the majority of them to come in.
Mr. Pittman, Mr. McDonald, can you honor us with that? Or is it two owners instead of owners? Which is
Fine with me.
How about you, Mark? All right. Of course, at your mutual convenience, during the working day, you work it out. Call Helen, and she'll make the material available.
Whatever's convenient for you two, I'll make myself available.
That's
Okay,
good.
around your schedule.
All right.
This is after.
After May 16th, after the due. But in the interim, I will be opening and checking if there's something missing, like a disclosure, like a notary or something simple like that. I will contact the employee to try to have that corrected prior to your review. Is that all right?
Mm-hmm.
And we distributed to all the board members a copy of the disclosure form and the memo that went out to all employees, so we have an extra disclosure form.
Need there be any further discussion on this issue? Are we all satisfied with the disposition? We've put it into the hands of 3 of our most competent board members, so I don't have any reluctance to go along with it. Anyone else have a problem? If not, regard it as an accomplished fact. Helen, you and Mark and Franklin constitute the committee to go through it. Obviously, if there's something that's glaringly absent from the form, you're authorized not to waste the time. These gentlemen just call the person involved, say, hey, you forgot to.
Exactly.
You can name the bank if it's a mortgage, for example, or what have you, which last time we didn't have, but now we both got specificity. Okay, fine. All right, so that disposes of that agenda item. So far, you're looking good with your short meeting. I'm just going down this in the described order. Any applications to amend the agenda in any way, to add or subtract from the agenda that we started with? We never have had it, but I just go through this. Okay. With respect to anything from the chair is happy to report that he's now in Yonkers. Given the nature of the matters before us, I wanted to be here just by telephone. I am stripped of the power of voting, and I didn't want anybody in town to think I'm ducking the issue and staying out of testimony. So I'm happy to be here.
Welcome back.
I missed the warmer weather, but okay. So I have nothing to report of any consequence other than the phone call that I had with Mr. Rubino this afternoon, which, as I understand it, followed a phone call from Mr. McDonald. Would you elaborate on that, Mr. Rubino?
Yes, Mr. McDonald had called me and pointed out a provision of the ethics code.
Would you cite it?
I will, and I'll read it onto the record so that
Right, okay.
I'll explain what it is. This section of the code has to do with complaints that are filed against the mayor. In that instance, clearly, because I am appointed by the mayor, there is a apparent conflict. And the code actually has a section which requires me to recuse myself and my office. And I'll read that section. It's section C, 1A-34, appointment of special counsel. In the event that the subject of an ethics violation complaint, and that's what we have here, the investigation or advisory opinion is the mayor, a deputy mayor, the mayor's chief of staff, or the corporation counsel, then the corporation counsel shall recuse himself or herself, as well as the entire office of the corporation counsel.
Notice the word shall.
And that's the pertinent section that
Not
requires me to recuse myself from the meeting.
Well, so portions of the meeting that goes towards what would be...
Well, because this agenda only has those two items on, it would seem to me that it would be this meeting, but...
Well, I have one item, I don't know, because new business came after old business, and I don't know whether it's new business, but...
All right,
kind of,
don't worry about
that.
that.
Just for purposes of me asking this question, but...
Sure, go ahead.
It's just an update on the subpoena that was served, and the response going out, and what...
I know nothing more about it other than a letter that was sent over my signature.
We have been handling it in the Corporation Counsel office. As you read, the paper was accurate. There were no records on file, any filing, and we notified the United States Attorney about that filing. So we have a letter actually which would ask you to sign.
It's probably, the only reason I raised it is because it's probably worthwhile, it's not a big deal. Since I think the subpoena went to the board.
Yes,
Chairman.
And we spoke to Judge Noka, who had responded, and we had to respond on his behalf, on the board's behalf. And it was the judge who was named, Judge Noka, Ethics Board. So we have to respond to the subpoena. We have that prepared and for the judge's signature, which basically says we reviewed the records and we had no record of any disclosure.
Yeah, it turns out that under the old code, the leaders of the respective parties were in fact covered, but the new code exempts them. So had there been compliance, we would have had records in our possession. Helen Henkel checked, and we had none in this particular instance, even though he was part of the mandated group that was required to answer. Is that right, Helen?
That is correct, Judge.
Okay.
The only reason I asked for an update is really because the board was subpoenaed, produced.
Right.
Not just the chair. So I wanted everybody to at least be aware of what procedure was followed, where we are in the procedural history.
I'm glad you did this.
All right, because it's not just served on the chair, it's served on the board, and every member of this board is then responsible and subject to compliance of that subpoena.
The request, I'm sorry, the requests were sent out from the personnel department for responding to the financial disclosure forms. There is documentation from the personnel department that at least 1 year they were definitely sent to the political party leaders. The following year, political party leaders were no longer required with the code change. But during the years that I have the records, there is no filing from the political party leaders.
None of them.
None.